politics, religion, talking about the don't talk about these topics. Whether you lean right or left, or whether you think of yourself as religious or non-religious or atheist or anywhere in between, every single human wants the same things. If all we are looking for is the darkness in the other, we are going nowhere fast. Welcome to Dreamsmith TV and the Kelly Wagner podcast, where I share strategies, tools, and resources to help you navigate change and transform your life into one that feels authentic, fulfilling, joyful, and free. So this episode is intended to be about a few things, but I guess the main theme of it is finding peace in ourselves, in the world, because things are crazy these days. All these arguments about everything. A lot of horrible things happening in the world. I'm not even going to mention any specific ones because there are so many. My adult son and I were having a particular discussion. We got to a point in the conversation where I expressed an opinion on something, and he, from a different viewpoint, got frustrated and was like, oh, if that's the way you think, I can't even talk to you. And unfortunately, I think that's what's happened to us. Not just us, he and I. We fixed that. I'll tell you about that in a second. But people, humanity, we've lost the ability to be able to respectfully discuss things that we initially appear to disagree on. And if we can't stay in these conversations with our family, then there is no way we can expect world leaders of any kind to do the same. So in that moment, I said to him, listen, this is exactly when we need to stay and talk about this. And I get it. It's hard. When you initially disagree on things, it can bring up a lot of really unpleasant, uncomfortable feelings. Anger, frustration, hurt, feeling misunderstood, feeling like the other person can't possibly understand or just doesn't get it. But the thing about people is that everybody, every single human on the face of this planet wants the same things. You want safety and security, you want love, you want peace, and ideally some joy would be great too. Security, love, peace, joy. Everybody wants that. And whenever one of those four elements, qualities, feels threatened, you can either start to just argue, which gets us nowhere, or shut down entirely. And neither approach will solve the problem or get us to safety and security, love, peace, joy. So step number one, you have to be willing to, first of all, obviously come to the table with people who you don't necessarily agree with. And then you have to be willing to stay at the table when it gets uncomfortable. Now, obviously, like if your actual physical safety is threatened in that moment, that's not a time to stay at the table. But otherwise, just try and remember in that moment, a lot of people are not great at dealing with uncomfortable feelings. I mean, it's hard, but you can start by just taking a deep breath. Even ask the other person, okay, wait, I just need a second. I just need a second to breathe and think this through. I need some deep breaths right now. I'm winded, I'm sweating. When you can stay at the table and talk these things through and ask the other person, can you help me understand? I don't understand how you've gotten to this perspective. Can you please try and explain? So that's the other thing. Words are wonderful. We all know that so much more of our communication actually happens through body language and tone. Words are powerful, but you may have trouble finding the exact words that really do the right job of articulating what you're trying to say. So whenever possible, try and have these conversations in person. Now, I know that's not always possible. My son and I live in different cities now, so this conversation we had was just over the phone. Definitely do it over the phone and not by text, for heaven's sakes. But if there's an opportunity for a video call, FaceTime, try and do that, because when you look into another person's eyes, you can see a lot more about what's there and why that can help you get to a deeper and more complete understanding. The other thing is to remember that every human being on this planet believes that they are on the side of good. You listening to this right now, whether you lean right or left, or whether you think of yourself as religious or non-religious or atheist or anywhere in between, you believe you're on the side of good. And if you just stop to think about that for a second, If you are sitting across the table from someone who believes that they are on the side of good, and you believe you're on the side of good, you certainly don't want them looking across the table at you, thinking that you must be stupid or ignorant or uninformed. And there's a lot of information to know about every situation going on. Not everyone has time to really fully dig into all the details and the nuances of every issue. And so really coming to the table, earnestly recognizing that everyone is trying to create good in the world in the way that they best understand. There was an amazing episode on the Huberman Lab podcast, and I can't remember who the interview was with. I can't find the link for it, so if anyone knows it, please drop it in the comments on YouTube, because it's so great. But effectively, it was an interview with someone from one of the universities who had studied these kinds of things, polarizing agreements or disagreements. And what they found statistically was that the extremes of any point of view, opinion, whether that's politically, religiously, whatever, the extreme on one side, extreme on the other, is a very small percentage. I don't remember what they were, but I'm going to say less than 10% or something. It's just that the extreme voices are typically the ones you hear because they're the ones who are most vocal about their opinions. The study showed that most of us, like the vast majority of us, are somewhere in the middle, way closer in our opinions than we are far. And that's why more of us middle grounders need to talk to each other. There's a beautiful book called Old Turtle, beautiful both in content and in illustrations. I was introduced to this book over 20 years ago, and ever since I read it, I've wanted the whole world to read it. Literally. So I really hope you do go read it. I'll put a link in the show notes below. This book is specifically a conversation about God. Talking about the don't talk about these topics on this pretty much first formal episode. Politics, religion. But outside of that conversation about God, the principles in it about seeing other people's viewpoints are just so beautifully illustrated exactly on this point of, yes, we may come at certain issues or ideals from different angles and different perspectives, but at the root, at the core of these positions, these ideologies, there is some truth and beauty that's trying to get at those four essential qualities we all want in life: safety and security, love, peace, and joy. And that's another step, is to look for wisdom, whatever source it comes to you from. We all have certain preferences and things that feel more comfortable to us or less comfortable to us. And a lot of really good messages and wisdom in things might be kind of disguised in a tone of voice you don't like, a physical presentation that just rubs you the wrong way for whatever reason. But if you can look beyond the surface appearance of a message and find the heart of good or the heart of wisdom that's in it, your view of things can expand and broaden and deepen in incredible ways. Another way I like to think of this is using the analogy of rainbows. So I'm no scientist, so this is going to be a horribly botched explanation, but how rainbows work is that light shines through water, and depending on the different angle it goes through at or things like that, but also the colors appear different to our eyes because they are literally different wavelengths. The distance between the waves of the color of the light are different. Like I said, I'm doing a terrible job of explaining it. You'll have to Google it. But basically the idea is that there is beautiful light shining through different people at different wavelengths. And when we look at a rainbow, we all agree that it's wonderful and it's spectacular and it's beautiful. And if it was just one beam of one color of light shining in the sky, lovely as that might be, it's kind of boring. And it doesn't show the beautiful spectrum of all the different colors. So the same way that we appreciate different colors in the rainbow, if we can all look for the light in each other, if we can look for the light in the other person's opinion and see how they can beautifully complement one another, or they can both be good even if they are different. That's ultimately what happened in the conversation with my son, and that thankfully has continued and deepened into like dozens of incredible conversations, really deep, meaningful conversations, because of insisting that we stay there and look until we find and understand the good in the other's opinion. And it's true, more often than not, we were coming at it with the same core desire for the world, desire for ourselves, our core wishes for how we want to see things go on this beautiful planet of ours. Look at this place. And so my challenge to you for today, for every day, is to find someone who you don't agree with. Share this video with them if that's helpful, but use these rules of approach, these rules of engagement, and even begin with the intent to say, look, I'm here because I want you to help me understand where you're coming from. What ultimately do you want? What do you ultimately believe? And keep digging down until you can find that common ground. Find the common threads that you share. Instead of looking for the differences, look for where we can come together and look for where the light is. And what we all have to do is find a way to let all the different wavelengths of light live in harmony. Because I would way rather have a multitude of color than the alternative, which is darkness. The absence of light is when you get darkness. And if all we are looking for is the darkness in the other, we are going nowhere fast. So if you take this challenge and you go to the table and you stay at the table until you can find the light and the good in the other person's heart, please tell me about it in the comments. I think we need to all inspire each other with our stories of connection and reconciliation, and just always look for the light. That's the way that we'll eventually get to safety and security for everyone, to love, peace, and joy. So go to it, all you good people of the world. It's going to be great. Man, that was a stick, and I stepped on it and it jutted up and got me. I'm not off to a good start. This is hazardous. Sorry for that nasty visual. It's pretty nasty. It's kind of a gash. Good thing I know Dr. Kelly will be in the house when I get home. Y'all, as if I talk like that. I guess I kind of do. Just like this. There's a spider web on there. At the time of this recording, I'm exactly double his age. It's completely irrelevant to the story. I'm really out of breath. Look at this. Oh, my camera work needs some work. Jeez. It's really pretty. I wish I could. They're trying to achieve safety, love, peace, and joy.